Manitowoc Public Library. I am here tonight with the fabulous Ms. Katie from Glaze and Paint. She is going to take us through our very cool wind chime program tonight. So, Katie, take it away.
Hi, everybody. As she had mentioned, I'm Katie from Glaze and Paint. If you don't know where that is, we are located on Washington Street here in Manitowoc. We're right down from the courthouse and from Subway there. So tonight we will be painting wind chimes here. So I've made just a couple examples here. The first thing we're going to do is they're already in your little packet here. So if you picked up a kit from the library, it would look like this. Inside, we'd have a wind chime, and the patterns may vary. Some of them are different than others. And then we'd also have paints. Now you should have 5 colors. You'd have the primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue. And then you'd also have black and white. So there should be 5 colors all together in your kit. And that is acrylic paint. So first things first, I recommend that we wear paint clothes and to put down a tablecloth because it will wash out of skin, but it may not wash out of clothes and other surfaces. So I recommend wearing paint clothes just in case. It shouldn't be getting too messy, but it's better safe than having to get your things stained. Your kit also should have a brush or 2 in there. You can use own brushes at home too if you have some that you like. You don't have to use the ones provided. Now, I do recommend that if you have like a paper plate or a palette that you can mix on, because I'm going to be talking about mixing colors too. So if you have like a paper plate or a styrofoam plate, a reusable plate, you could even do it on the tablecloth too if that's not a keepable tablecloth and you're going to throw it away. So ask first before you do that. But first things first, we're going to take our wind chime out of the bag here and discard the bag so that it doesn't get lost or a pet gets it or anything, so you can discard the bag. Now, it might take a little bit of untangling here. Might have to weave the little strings through so that they're all untangled from each other. There we go. So then once you have it completely untangled, this is a pretty open-ended project, but I'm going to be talking a little bit about color mixing and about patterns. So I'm going to give you a few different options, but ultimately it's up to you. You can kind of decorate this however you feel like you would like to. And then in the end, they can go indoors or outdoors. So you can either keep it for yourself or give it as a gift too. So once you have your tablecloth down and you have your little mixing tin ready here, the kit should also have come with a handout. So on the handout, there is a little chart on there too about color mixing. So first thing I'm going to talk about here is mixing colors. So as I said, I have the primary colors. So what are primary colors? So they're red, yellow, and blue. Primary colors are colors that you can't mix other colors to get to them. So there's no colors you can mix that make red, yellow, or blue. But you can make other colors with them. So if we have our little plate here, we can mix red and yellow. And you may have gone over this in art class too, but I'm just doing a little refresher if you have. Now, if you mix red and yellow together, and you can always experiment with different amounts as well, red and yellow make orange. And if you want lighter of an orange, you can add more yellow. If you want darker of an orange, you can add more red. And then you can put this onto your wind chime however you would like. Now, if you want to use the same brush, but you don't want the same color, you can just use plain old water. And you can just rinse out your brush here and just dry it on the edge of the cup. And you can use that brush again, or if you want, you can just grab a different brush too. So then, another good color combination is if you have yellow and blue. And I'm mixing on a plate because if I just mix in the cups, then my whole blue is going to be a different color, and we don't want to do that. You can even mix on those little lids too. So yellow and blue are going to make a green. And again, if you want it darker, you can use more blue. If you want it lighter, you can use more yellow.
Miss Katie, can I mix black or white in with those colors?
That is a good question. So if you want black or white to be added to different colors, it makes it lighter or darker. So you can mix a little bit of black or white in with the colors you mixed, or in with these colors here. So if you mix like white into this red, you're going to get the pink, like how I used on the top of this one. So by mixing white with red, we get pink. Or if you mix black with red, we get this darker red color, like how I mixed on here. So it's all about experimenting and having fun with it too. So it's nice if you have like a spare plate or somewhere where you're mixing, you can just have fun with it and see what different colors make. So after we mixed our colors, and usually I like to start by just putting a base coat down. And then you can always do a couple layers. Now this paint's going to dry really, really fast. So you don't even have to bring out a hairdryer or anything. You can if you want to, but give it a minute and it'll be dry really, really quickly. So after you have your base layer down of a solid color, or you can do a couple colors, then you can always add patterns on top. So like on the top of here, I added polka dots. So what are a few patterns that we could do? I'm going to write on my whiteboard here. Let's go over some patterns. So polka dots are one pattern where you can just do little tiny dots, or you could always do big circle dots and fill those in. Personally, I really like polka dots, so I use them on a lot of different things that I do. Now, a fun way, you can either use the brush end, or you can turn the brush around, use the back end instead of the brush end, and that makes nice little polka dots too. So you can even do that as well. Other patterns you can try using would be stripes, which is just diagonal or up and down. You can even do stripes going one way and another way to kind of get a crisscross pattern. That could be pretty fun. You could do waves or zigzags. You can do a couple zigzags up and down. You could always do a mix and match of different patterns too. Like I did polka dots on the top of my wind chime. And then on this part, I did some stripes, zigzags on the back. You could even do some swirls. And you don't have to add patterns if you don't want to, but I think it makes things a little bit more fun too. But it's completely up to you because it's your project. Like on this one, I didn't add any patterns. I just did solid colors, and that's okay too. Again, it's your project, and everybody's projects are going to be a little bit unique. And that's because it's your project. Completely up to you. Now you can paint all of the pieces on here. So there's little tiny wood beads on the top, so you can paint those. It might be a little hard. You might have to kind of hold them still and do one side and then the other. And then there's this piece. There's a part in the middle here. And the piece at the bottom. You don't have to paint the metal parts because that's the part that when it hits the wood, that you don't have to paint because you don't want any paint on there. But if it gets on there, that's okay. Not a big deal. And then once they're completely dry, I usually let them dry for about 24 hours. And then once they're dry, they can go outdoors or indoors. Although if it's going to be like a big snowstorm or something, I'd probably bring them inside just in case. But have fun with it. And feel free to ask an adult to share on Facebook with us as well how they turned out. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed painting our wind chimes, and we'll see you again next month.
Thank you, Miss Katie. That was awesome, as always. Join us again in the future for another fun. We'll be back in March with another fun project with Miss Katie. I'm not going to tell you about it yet. Join me tomorrow morning at 9:30 live for story time. We are going on the road Now, Sunday was Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day to me means chocolate. We are going to Renee's Chocolate and Popcorn Shop tomorrow for our story time, and then we will have our little behind-the-scenes tour that we'll post for you on Friday. So join me tomorrow for popcorn and chocolate story time, and then tune in on Friday for our tour. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye. We're having a little technical difficulty with our shutdown, so I'm just going to walk out. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.